Okay, hi guys. I wasn't really planning to make a video, but I figured I should talk on this subject while it's still fresh in my mind and the emotions I have about it are still raw. So just as a warning, you're probably going to want to call me an attention whore because I'm probably going to cry because this is a pretty recent thing that happened. Um, on Friday, this past Friday, the 13th of November, I gave Key, my cat, up to a shelter. The reason that I did it is because when I first got her 4 years ago, almost exactly 4 years ago, um, she peed all over the house, but that was back when I lived with my family in a house. So it was a big area and it wasn't really that big of a deal if she peed because you just clean it up and it doesn't affect the whole house. Um, but this past August, I moved into this apartment by myself and with Key, and it's small. It's I want to say 580 square foot studio apartment, and she didn't stop peeing everywhere. She peed on the carpet, on the linoleum floor in the kitchen. She peed on food that I had, which was in a cabinet that she got in and peed on. She peed on the sheets on this bed. She peed actually on the actual mattress. I'm gonna have to get that cleaned somehow. She's peed on both of my pillows. I got a expensive pillow because it's better and whatever, and she peed on that. So I got a cheaper replacement pillow, and she peed on that too. She peed in my shower. She has also pooped in my shower, which is absolutely disgusting. And she's peed on me multiple times. Now, most people, when I say things like that, they pretty much always want to go for, well, did you take her to the vet? Yes, I did. I took her to the vet about 3 weeks ago, maybe. And the vet said there was nothing wrong with her. She didn't, because, generally when cats pee in inappropriate places, there's something wrong with them. They're sick or unhappy or just, I don't know. But that was not the case with Key. There was nothing wrong with her. And I changed her food. I gave her more like wet food rather than dry food because I thought maybe there was something wrong with her that just didn't catch. I changed the litter, like the kind of litter that we use. I I brought in another litter box because sometimes cats don't like having only one litter box, even if it's only one cat. So we had two. We still have two. She's just not here. I cleaned up all the places where she had peed so that she wouldn't smell it and think that that's a good place to pee anymore. Obviously washed everything that she peed on, like my clothes and my sheets, and nothing worked. So, and my mom won't take her back because she did do damage around the house just because it's how she's always been. And my mom is like, I don't really want to go through that anymore. And I couldn't keep her anymore. So I contacted several shelters in my local area. Well, first I wanted to have her go to a sanctuary or a rescue, which isn't really like a shelter, and it's no kill, and I figured she would probably be happier there, but all of the rescues and sanctuaries in my area are currently not accepting cats and will not be accepting any until probably about February, and I cannot wait that long. Because I'm leaving to go down south in the end of December for about 8 days, and I would not be able to just leave her here because I cannot imagine what she would do to my apartment if she was still here for 8 days. So I contacted a shelter, and I told them the whole story about how I had her for 4 years and that I wanted to keep her but I absolutely couldn't and stuff like that, and they basically just told me that I would have to pay a lot of money to bring her in. I'd have to get her vet records, and they basically also just told me not to bring her because they said that they couldn't help her and that she probably wouldn't do well in that shelter, and that she would probably have to be euthanized. So my grandmother volunteers at a different shelter close to where she lives, and so I asked her if if she could go and check and see if they're accepting cats right now, and she did. She said that yeah, they're accepting cats, and she said she would take her for me, and that she would just take her there as a stray that she had found, so that I wouldn't have to pay the fee and go through basically the guilt tripping that shelters make you do if you're giving up an animal. So they make you sign these contracts that basically just say over and over, are you sure you're never going to see your animal again? And I didn't want to do that, and so she took her for me. I didn't want to give her up. Please understand that. I had fully planned on having her with me until the day that she died naturally. She's not dead, thank God. This is not what I wanted to do. And it wasn't even just like one time she peed somewhere inappropriate and then I'm kicking her out. It was over 3 months, and that's too much for anyone to handle. I feel terrible about it because I can't imagine what she must feel like. I can't imagine how scared and confused she must be. And I understand people are gonna be like, it's just a cat, get another one. And I do plan on getting another one. I actually plan on getting 2. Because my local PetSmart has, I don't know if this is done at all PetSmarts, but at mine it is. They have this display full of adoptable cats, and generally it's a pretty common occurrence where there's a pair of cats have to be adopted together. Maybe they were born in the same litter, or they were both owned by one person who gave them up. And I'm hoping to get a pair of cats like that. Older cats, preferably, because kittens tend to get adopted pretty quickly, and I would also want a house-trained cat or cats. I don't know when I'm going to get them. I have to have everything professionally cleaned before I bring another animal into this apartment. But yeah, I said my goodbyes to Key on Friday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I put her in her carrier, and I told her to be good, and that I love her, and that I'm so sorry. And I told her to make sure that she's good for whoever adopts her, so that this doesn't have to happen again. And I put her in my grandma's car, and I turned away, and I didn't watch them drive away. And I just went back in the house and started absolutely bawling my eyes out. People are gonna say that she's just a cat, and I understand if you feel that way. There are a lot of people that do, but please try to respect that I don't feel that way. Animals are not just animals to me. They're like family, and especially since I live alone. And she was the only company that I had here. And it's very difficult. Because I came into this apartment for the first time with her gone, and I closed the door behind me, and I just sat in front of the door and bawled for about 20 minutes. Because usually when I come back home after I've been at my mom's house for the weekend, I come home and she meows at me and just runs up to me, and she would stand on her hind legs and reach up for me to pick her up, and that didn't happen. And then I looked because in my apartment, her food bowl is kind of close to the door, so I saw her food bowl, and it was empty. Sounds really stupid. I understand this sounds really dumb, but it just absolutely broke me. This is one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. I am glad that I at least found a no-kill shelter for her to go to, though, so that hopefully she has a chance, because she pees everywhere and she has that skin condition which makes her pull her fur out, so she doesn't look the best. And she's declawed on all 4 paws, and she's not a very good candidate for adoption. So I had to make sure I found a no-kill shelter, because I don't want her to live the rest of her life in a box. I feel terrible. I really do. In a way, this is almost harder than having an animal die, because she's alive and well. I just can't ever see her again, because I've relinquished my rights as an owner. The shelter that she went to does have a Facebook page, which I looked at, and they posted a picture of her, and it was kind of, unfortunately, kind of funny, because there were people commenting and speculating that it might be their cat, and it's not. Unless their cat went missing 4 years ago when I found her. And it's really hard to resist the urge to say, no, it's not your cat, I promise. She looks so scared in the picture. I hate it. It had to be done though. There was nothing I could do for her. I gave her love and food and shelter and a place to call home for 4 years, but I couldn't do it anymore. I feel so bad. And yes, I understand that there are bigger and worse things that happened on the 13th. I'm fully aware. But this is what happened to me personally. It's so difficult. It's so lonely and quiet here. I just really hope that she finds a family that loves her just as much as I do. And I hope she lives the rest of her life in a forever home. Not in a box. And not with 3 or 4 or 5 different owners and for the rest of her life. I hope somebody loves her just as much as I do. Okay. I think that's it. I think I'm gonna go now. So, let me know if you've ever had to do this too. And let me know, I guess, strategies on how to get over this. Okay. Bye, guys.